You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Today I escaped anxiety, or no, I discarded it because it was within me in my own perceptions, not outside. If it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. Confine yourself to the present. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Whatever happens to you has been waiting to happen since the beginning of time. To live happily is an inward power of the soul. You can commit injustice by doing nothing. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Do every act of your life as if it were your last. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. The first step, don't be anxious. Nature controls it all. The second step, concentrate on what you have to do. Fix your eyes on it. Remind yourself that your task is to be a good human being. Remind yourself what nature demands of people. Then do it without hesitation and speak the truth as you see it, but with kindness, with humility, without hypocrisy. Don't be overheard complaining, not even to yourself. Do not be perturbed, for all things err according to the nature of the universal, and in a little time you will be nobody and nowhere. True good fortune is what you make for yourself. Good fortune, good character, good intentions, good actions. Let not your mind run on what you lack as much as on what you already have. Objective judgment now. At this very moment, unselfish action. Now, at this very moment, willing acceptance. Now, at this very moment of all external events. That's all you need. Almost nothing material is needed for a happy life. For he who has understood existence, receive wealth or prosperity, without arrogance, and be ready to let it go. For God's sake, stop honoring externals. Quit turning yourself into the tool of mere matter or people who can supply you or deny you those material things. A man, when he has done a good act, does not call out for others to come and see, but he goes on to another act, as a vine goes on to produce again the grapes. Reason what can take place without change. What, then, is more pleasing or more suitable to the universal? Nature? It, and can you take a hot bath unless the wood for the fire undergoes a change? And can you be nourished unless the food undergoes a change? And can anything else that is useful be accomplished without change? Do you not see, then, that for yourself also to change is just the same and equally necessary for the universal nature? Receive without pride, let go without attachment. When you have assumed these names, good, modest, truthful, rational, a man of equanimity and magnanimous, take care that you do not change these names, and if you should lose them, quickly return to them. I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinions of himself than on the opinions of others. Be content with what you are, and wish not change, nor dread your last day, nor long for it. Consider that before long you'll be nobody and nowhere, nor will any of these things exist that you know see, nor any of those who are now living, for all things are formed by nature to change, and be turned, and to perish, in order that other things in continuous succession may exist. In a word, if there is a God, all is well, and if chance rules, do not also be governed by it. So I look for the best, and am prepared for the opposite. Treat whatever happens as wholly natural, not novel or hard to deal with, but familiar and easily handled. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. A flourishing life cannot be achieved until we moderate our desires and see how superficial and fleeting they are. No man is free who is not master of himself. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Whoever does not regard what he has as most ample, wealth is unhappy, though he be master of the world. When your thoughts, words, and deeds form a seamless fabric, you streamline your efforts, and thus eliminates worry and dreadful. It's time to stop being vague. If you wish to be an extraordinary person, if you wish to be wise, then you should explicitly identify the kind of person you aspire to become. If you seek truth, you will not seek to gain a victory by every possible means. And when you have found truth, you need not fear being defeated. Let silence be your general rule, or say only what is necessary, and in few words know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Although we can't control which roles are assigned to us, it must be our business to act our given role as best as we possibly can, and to refrain from complaining about it. Wherever you find yourself, and in whatever circumstances, give an impeccable performance. First, learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. Nothing great is created suddenly any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient. For he that is so wants nothing. The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach. A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. All cruelty springs from weakness. There is no easy way from the earth to the stars. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. Hang on to your youthful and enthusiasms. You'll be able to use them better when you're older. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. It is not that we have so little time, but that we lose so much. The life we receive is not short, but we make it so. We are not ill provided, but we use what we have wastefully. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor. Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. He who is brave is free. What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears if you really want to escape the things that harass you. What you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. Was ever wise by chance? Until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. We've been using them not because we needed them, but because we had them. They lose the day in the expectation of the night, and the night in fear of the dawn. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary. I shall never be ashamed of citing a bad author if the line is good. Only time can heal. What reason cannot? Ignorance is the cause of fear. Putting things off is the biggest waste of life. It snatches away each day as it comes and denies us the present by promising the future. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. You are arranging what lies in fortune's control and abandoning what lies in yours. What are you looking at? To what goal are you straining? The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. It is not the length, but the excellence of the acting that matters. Wealth is the slave of a wise man, the master of a fool. Enjoy present pleasures in such a way as to not injure future ones. If you live in harmony with nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to what others think, you will never be rich as long as you live. Keep learning how to live. You people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. The sun also shines on the wicked. Fate leads the willing and drags along. The reluctant sword never kills anybody. It is the tool in the killer's hand and burial of a man alive. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Often a very old man has no other proof of his long life than his age. We learn not in school, but in life. A gift consists not in what is done or given, but in the intention of the giver or doer. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting harder battle. Every heart sings a song incomplete until another heart whispers back. Those who wish to sing always find a song. At the touch of a lover, everyone becomes a poet. Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Only the dead have seen the end of war. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil. Men do not train a child to learn by force or harshness, but direct them to it by what amuses their minds, so that you may be better able to discover with accuracy the peculiar bent of the genius of each. The heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by someone inferior to yourself. According to Greek mythology, humans were originally created with 4 arms, 4 legs, and a head with 2 faces. Fearing their power, Zeus split them into 2 separate parts, condemning them to spend their lives in search of their other halvest. Man alive. For I know one thing, and that is, I know nothing. You never discourage anyone who continually makes progress, no matter how slow, is a serious mental disease. One of the penalties of refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Good people do not need laws to tell them how to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. The measure of a man is what he does with his power. Ignorance the root and stem of every evil. If women are expected to do the same work as men, we must teach them the same things. I'm trying to think. Don't confuse me with facts. There is truth in wine and children. Those who tell the stories rule society. Human behavior flows from 3 main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. The madness of love is the greatest of heaven's blessings. Education is teaching our children to desire the right things. There are 3 classes of men: lovers of wisdom, lovers of honor, and lovers of gain. Courage is knowing what not to fear. In politics, we presume that everyone who knows how to get votes knows how to administer a city or a state. When we are ill, we do not ask for the handsomest physician or the most eloquent one. You should not honor men more than truth. There are 2 things: a person should never be angry at what they can help and what they cannot. When men speak ill of thee, live so as nobody may believe them. The beginning is the most important part of the work. How can you prove whether at this moment we are sleeping and all our thoughts are a dream, or whether we are awake and talking to one another in the waking state? The object of education is to teach us to love what is beautiful. Our house that has a library in it has a soul. Necessity is the mother of invention. Those who are able to see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed by the masses. Death is not the worst that can happen to men. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. Bodily exercise, when compulsory, does no harm to the body, but knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. No man should bring children into the world who is unwilling to preserve to the end. In their nature and education, character is simply habit, long continued. An empty vessel makes the loudest sound, so they that have the least wit are the greatest babblers. Excellence is not a gift, but a skill that takes practice. We do not act rightly because we are excellent. In fact, we achieve excellence by acting rightly. Musical innovation is full of danger to the state, for when modes of music change, the fundamental laws of the state also change with them. You're my star, a stargazer too, and I wish that I were heaven with 1,000,000,000 eyes to look at you. Love is simply the name for the desire and pursuit of the whole. People are like dirt. They can even nourish you and help you grow as a person, or they can stunt your growth and make you wilt and die. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. You, the soul, takes nothing with her to the next world but her education and her culture. At the beginning of the journey to the next world, one's education and culture can either provide the greatest assistance or else act as the greatest burden to the person who has just died. You, a hero, is born among 100. A wise man is found among 1,000. But an accomplished one might not be found even among 100,000. Men will teach children music, physics, and philosophy. But most importantly, music. For the patterns in music and all the arts are the keys to learning. Poets utter great and wise things, which they do not themselves understand. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. What is a friend? A single soul dwelling in two bodies. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Hope is a waking dream. No great mind has ever existed without a touch of madness. Happiness depends upon ourselves. Anybody can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not within everybody's power and is not easy. Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. You. Wishing to be friends is quick work, but friendship is a slow, ripening fruit. Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. A friend to all is a friend to none. Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Those who educate children well are more tube-honored than they who produce them, for these only gave them life. Those the art of living well to perceive is to suffer. He who has overcome his fears will truly be free. Those who know do. Those that understand teach. The educated differ from the uneducated as much as the living differ from the dead. Whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god. I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over. Self-poverty is the parent of revolution and crime. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things but their inward significance. It is not enough to win a war. It is more important to organize the peace. The antidote for 50 enemies is one friend. The high-minded man must care more for the truth than for what people think. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. One swallow does not make a summer, neither does one fine day. Similarly, one day or brief time of happiness does not make a person entirely happy to write well. Express yourself like the common people, but think like a wise man. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Learning is not child play. We cannot learn without pain. Man is by nature a social animal, an individual who is unsocial, naturally and not accidentally. is either beneath our notice or more than human. Society is something that precedes the individual. Anyone who either cannot lead the common life or is so self-sufficient as not to need to and therefore does not partake in society is either a beast or a god. For the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them. All human actions have one or more of these 7 causes: chance, nature, compulsion, habit, reason, passion, and desire. It is not always the same thing to be a good man and a good citizen. The more you know you don't know. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. He who cannot be a good follower cannot be a good leader. Without friends, no one would want to live even if he had all other goods. Dignity does not consist in possessing honors, but in the consciousness that we deserve them. Nature does nothing uselessly. All paid jobs absorb and degrade the mind. Wise men speak when they have something to say. Fools speak because they have to say something. Misfortune shows those who are not really friends. Where your talents and the needs of the world cross, there lies your vocation. Learning is an ornament in prosperity, a refuge in adversity, and a provision in old age. Excellence is an art won by training and habituation. We do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence, but we rather have those because we have acted rightly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. The unexamined life is not worth living. I cannot teach anyone anything. I can only make them think. There is only one good knowledge and one evil ignorance. Wonder is the beginning of wisdom. Strong minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Weak minds discuss people. To find yourself, think for yourself. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have. Be slow to fall into friendship. But when you are in, continue firm and constant. If you don't get what you want, you suffer. If you get what you don't want, you suffer. Even when you get exactly what you want, you still suffer because you can't hold on to it forever. Your mind is your predicament. It wants to be free of change, free of pain, free of the obligations of life and death. But change is law, and no amount of pretending will alter that reality. Sometimes you put walls up not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough to break them down. Close you. No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. When the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. The secret of happiness, you see, is not found in seeking more, but in developing the capacity to enjoy less. Know thyself. Let him who would move the world first move himself you. Contentment is natural wealth. Luxury is artificial poverty. Employ your time in improving yourself by other men's writings, so that you shall come easily by what others have labored hard, for the only goodest knowledge and the only evil is ignorance. Do not do to others what angers you if done to you by others. Every action has its pleasures and its price. Prefer knowledge to wealth, for theon is transitory, the other perpetual. We cannot live better than in seeking to become better. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Beware of the barrenness of a busy life. Understanding a question is half an answer. The hottest love has the coldest end. Life contains 2 tragedies. One is not to get your heart's desire, the other is to get it. Envy is the ulcer of the soul. The greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be what we pretend to be. I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. From the deepest desires often come the deadliest hate. Be nicer than necessary to everyone you meet. Everyone is fighting some kind of battle. If you want to be a good saddler, saddle the worst horse. For if you can tame one, you can tame all. My friend, care for your psyche. Know thyself. For once we know ourselves, we may learn how to care for ourselves. The beginning of wisdom is the definition of terms. One should never do wrong in return, nor mistreat any man, no matter how one has been mistreated by him. The really important thing is not to live, but to live well. And to live well meant, along with more enjoyable things in life, to live according to your principles. The easiest and noblest way is not to be crushing others, but to be improving yourselves. He is richest who is content with the least. For content is the wealth of nature.